we decided it's time to put a different power tool in your hand. The CBP Home application lets you self-deport safely and effectively. Explore quick self-deportation with just a push of a button. So easy, even you can do it. Download the CBP Home application and see how El Hombres get home.
America, Democrats had the wildest weekend since Joe Biden tried to find his way off stage.
More people were deported under my husband and Barack Obama without killing American citizens and without putting children into detention camps.
While we have 2014 AP footage showing exactly that. Meanwhile, AOC went to Germany and delivered a foreign policy word salad so confusing it makes Kamala Harris look like Albert Einstein. Obama threw Gavin Newsom under the bus for homeless policies, and the only Democrat making sense is John Fetterman.
The government shutdown will cease pay for all of TSA's more than 63,000 person workforce.
But ICE is fully funded because Trump already secured the money. So Democrats shut down the government to punish Trump, but the only people getting hurt are TSA workers. Classic. What is up, guys? Tyson DeLaCruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Let's start with what's happening right now in Washington because Democrats just shut down the Department of Homeland Security for oversight concerns. That's their excuse. They want more oversight for ICE operations. They want reforms. They want accountability.
Funding for the Department of Homeland Security ended late Friday after Congress failed to pass a spending bill. Agencies like TSA, FEMA, the Coast Guard, and ICE are impacted. Most DHS employees are considered essential and must work without pay. Well, the holdup? Democrats are demanding immigration and customs enforcement reforms.
And TSA is already warning that this could cause significant attrition and increase call-out rates, which is bureaucracy speak for people are going to quit or call in sick because they ain't getting paid. That means longer lines at the airport, more delays, and canceled flights.
The recent shutdown was very long, and that had significant impact on the staff financially because they went a long period of time without getting paid. When you have another event like that impacting the lives of those officers, they may have to seek out other types of work just to make ends meet.
And here's the kicker. The last shutdown was so long that TSA agents are still recovering financially. They missed a bunch of paychecks. They got behind on their bills. They had to get second jobs. Some of these people, if you guys can remember, were Uber driving. They were driving Ubers, doing Lyft. And now Democrats, they're doing it again. But you know what's not shutting down, guys? ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, is fully funded for the entire year because Trump secured the bag in the one big beautiful bill. So Democrats shut down DHS to punish Trump for enforcing immigration law, but ICE keep operating anyway. So they're punishing TSA agents, the Coast Guard members, and FEMA workers, but not ICE. The only people getting hurt are the ones that have nothing to do with immigration enforcement. That's Democrat logic for you. Now let's talk about AOC's trip to Germany because this was a masterclass on how to embarrass yourself on the world stage.
You know, I think that this is such a
today, Junior.
What we identify is that in a rules-based order, hypocrisy is vulnerability. And so I think what we are seeking is a return to a rules-based order that eliminates the hypocrisies around when too often in the West we look the other way for inconvenient populations to act out these paradoxes.
What the freak does that even mean? She sounds like a college freshman who's trying to discover a word paradox and decided to use it in every freaking sentence.
So when you run for president, are you going to impose a wealth tax or a billionaire's tax?
I don't think that anyone, and that we don't have to wait for any one president to impose a wealth tax.
And when asked if she's running for president in 2028, she gave the most non-answer answer possible. We don't have to wait for any one president to impose a wealth tax. That's not a no. That's I'm testing the waters.
The world has changed. I don't think that it is controversial to say that. I don't think that the president can act the way that he has acted towards Greenland. I don't think he can institute the not just the terrorists, but the rhetoric towards our Canadian neighbors without consequences.
And then AOC criticized Trump's rhetoric towards Canada and Greenland. She literally said terrorists instead of tariffs. She's a word champion, guys. She can't even get through a sentence without stumbling around. This woman who might run for president in 2028. And you know what? Republicans, we should be praying that she runs. She's got more Kamala Harris vibes than Kamala Harris has her own vibes. The word salads, the nervous laughs, the inability to answer a direct question, except AOC is even less experienced. At least Kamala Harris was a senator and attorney general. AOC, she was a bartender who won a primary in a D+ district. And if she runs in 2028, it might be the easiest layup Republicans have ever had. She can't even articulate policies. She can't handle tough questions. She can't even make a quesadilla. She can't even pronounce tariff correctly. This would be a gift from the heavens. Now let's get into the main event. Hillary Clinton absolutely unhinged performance in Deutschland. She went to the Munich Security Conference and just started rewriting history in real time.
More people were deported under my husband and Barack Obama without killing American citizens and without putting children into detention camps than were in the first Trump term or this first year of Trump's second term.
Except we have footage from 2014 from the Associated Press showing Obama's detention facilities with kids in foil blankets on concrete floors.
Inside the walls of this facility along the Arizona-New Mexico border, at least 1,000 kids, some as young as elementary age. They huddle in foil blankets in a country not their own.
This was 2014 during Obama's presidency. The AP was given a rare look inside these facilities because the administration was trying to show how they were handling the border crisis. And now Hillary is standing in Germany claiming it never even happened. She's literally gaslighting the entire world. Again. But here's what's really wild. She's bragging about it. She's saying Democrats deported more people than Trump, which is interesting and true because for the last 8 years, Democrats have been calling deportations inhumane and cruel and fascist. So what is it, Hillary? Are deportations good or bad? Because you can't have it both ways. You can't spend years attacking Trump for enforcing immigration law and then brag that your husband got a BJ at the, that's the wrong subject. Then brag that your husband did it more.
I think we need to call it for what it is.
Secretary
There is
Clinton.
a legitimate reason to have a debate about things like migration. It went too far. It's been disruptive and destabilizing, and it needs to be fixed in a humane way.
And then she said migration went too far. It's been disruptive and destabilizing. Duh. So now she's admitting that the open borders were a mistake after spending years calling anybody who wanted border security a racist. This is what happens when Democrats lose power. They suddenly, all of a sudden, start sounding like Republicans. They start admitting that maybe unlimited immigration isn't sustainable. They start bragging about deportations. But Hillary wasn't done. She went on a full Trump derangement syndrome rant.
He has betrayed the West. He's betrayed human values. He's betrayed the NATO Charter, the Atlantic Charter, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. A lot of what has been done before to try to make sense of how difficult it is to restrain people who want unaccountable power. And none of us in this room, including all of us on this panel, would choose to live under a regime that was so unaccountable that it could act with impunity the way that Putin does, except that's who Trump is modeling himself.
She's listing every international agreement like she's reading it from Wikipedia. And then she said Trump is modeling himself after Putin. This is the same lame, boring talking points. Because apparently enforcing immigration law and renegotiating trade deals makes you a Russian dictator.
Well, first, I think you really don't like him.
And then the panelists just straight up mocked her. The whole room laughed because it was so freaking obvious. Hillary's entire identity is built around hating Trump.
You know, that is absolutely true. But I really, not only do I not like him, I don't like him because of what he's doing to the United States and the world. And I think you should take a hard look at it if you think that there is something good that will come out of it.
And then Hillary doubled down. She's so consumed by the hatred that she can't even pretend to be objective.
What I think Trump is doing in America, I think it is reaction for something for some policies that really went too far from the regular people, too far from reality. So, you know, we saw the cancel culture. We saw the woke revolution.
And he is exactly right here. Trump didn't create the division. He's responding to the Democrats pushing it too far left. And obviously the Democrats and Hillary can't accept that. They can't accept that maybe, just maybe, her party's policies are too far, so unpopular that the voters elected Trump twice. Now let's talk about the Epstein question, because this is where things get really uncomfortable for Hillary.
And Madam Secretary, I'd like to ask you, I'm the mother of a daughter, and it absolutely horrifies me to see what the Epstein files have brought out. And I wanted to ask you, what does it say about Western values when Western leaders have perpetuated and participated in these horrific abuses of minors and girls?
Absolutely great question here. And you know what Hillary did? She pivoted to Steve Bannon.
It came out that Steve Bannon was trying to get Jeffrey Epstein to help him overthrow Pope Francis. I guess that was part of the civilizational true conservatism.
That's her answer. That is her answer. Deflect to a Republican. Make it about conservatives. Absolutely ignore the elephant in the room. And everybody knows what the elephant in the room is. And you're asking, what is the elephant in the room? It's Bill Clinton, her husband, who flew on Epstein's plane at least 27 times, who invited Epstein to be at the White House 17 times, who's mentioned 1,193 times in the Epstein files. But Hillary didn't mention him once. The reporter didn't even mention him once. They just pretended Bill Clinton, Slick Willie, didn't even exist.
So it is something that, needs to be totally transparent. I've called for, many, many years for everything to be put out there so people can not only see what is in them, but also, if appropriate, hold people accountable.
This is classic Clinton deflection. Pretend to care about accountability while protecting the people closest to you.
The same would be true, let's say, here in Los Angeles around the homeless issue. I think morally, ethically speaking, it is an atrocity that in a country this wealthy, we have people just on the streets.
He's talking about California, Gavin Newsom's California, the state that spent billions and billions of dollars on homelessness with absolutely nothing to show for it.
But we should also recognize that the average person, doesn't want to have to navigate around a tent city in the middle of downtown. And that we're not going to be able to build a working majority and support for the resources that we need to help folks like that, whether it's drug treatment or temporary housing or what have you. We're not going to be able to generate support for it if we simply say, you know what, it's not their fault, and so they should be able to do whatever they want, because that's a losing political strategy.
He's not saying that it's morally wrong. He's not saying it's bad policy. He's saying it's politically stupid because voters hate it and Democrats keep losing elections because of it. This is Obama throwing Newsom under the bus. He's basically saying your homeless policies are costing us elections and you need to fix it. California has an $18 billion budget deficit and Newsom is funding abortions instead of cleaning up 10 cities. Hey guys, quick announcement. I'm launching a second channel where I'll be doing some off-the-cuff reactions while I gather research for these deep dive videos, talking about politics, economics, some pop culture, just some raw, unfiltered takes. The link for it, I think I could do it. It'll be placed somewhere above and in the description down below. Check it out if you want some more content between these main videos. Now let's talk about John Fetterman, because he's become one of the most reasonable Democrats in Washington, which is wild considering he had a stroke and can barely complete a sentence sometimes.
Now, I'm not defending the president, but I will say he hasn't defied a single court order yet. He hasn't. And there was the big freak out that he was going to run in 28. And I'm like, no, he's not going to run. That's not going to happen. And now
he's pointing out that the Democrats are freaking out about Trump being a dictator, but Trump is actually following the law.
When you have members of Congress calling him a piece of shit and things crazy, I'll always talk and speak, with respect, because I really want to find a way forward to wins in Pennsylvania.
And then he criticized his own party for calling Trump a POS and using extreme rhetoric, which they have been for years. And he said, I'd rather just play it straight and treat people on both sides with respect. Kudos. This is a Democrat senator saying maybe, just maybe, we should stop calling the president names and actually try to work with them. That, my friends, is a radical position in today's Democratic Party.
84% of Americans have no idea with presenting IDs to vote. So it's not like a radical idea. It's not something. And there already are many states that show basic IDs.
And then Fetterman broke with Democrats on the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act is the bill requiring photo ID and proof of citizenship to vote. It's common sense policy, but Democrats have spent years calling it racist because they know it would make the fraud a lot harder.
So that's where we are in the Senate. So I would never refer to the SAVE Act as like Jim Crow 2.0 or some kinds of conspiracy, but that's part of the debate that we were having here in the Senate right now. And I don't call people names or imply that it's some kinds of things, something gross about the terrible history of like Jim Crow.
And Fetterman is the only Democrat willing to admit that maybe, just maybe, some of these programs are being abused. He's the only one willing to say that voter ID makes sense. He's the only one willing to treat Trump with basic respect. And that makes him the most reasonable Democrat in Washington. Now let's talk about what Trump is actually doing, because while the Democrats are melting down in Germany, Trump is preparing to significantly increase deportations.
The Department of Homeland Security is pushing ahead with its plans of expanding detention space across the country. The agency confirming to Fox it has purchased a warehouse facility in Chester, New York.
They're preparing for a surge in deportations, and local Democrats are already trying to stop it. But ICE is operating in compliance with the law.
What laws were changed in the last 12 months that made it so that we went from the most open border in American history, hundreds of thousands of people coming to this country illegally every month, to virtually zero? What laws did we pass? I want you to give credit to Congress for acting to pass these incredible laws that resulted in this decrease.
No laws were passed, sir. Nothing new.
And here's the key. No new laws were passed. Trump is just enforcing the laws that already exist. Laws that Democrats ignored for 4 years. Trump didn't need Congress to secure the border. He just needed to enforce existing law. That is it. That's the whole story. Trump came in and started enforcing it, and suddenly the border is under control. And now the best part of this entire story, Ice, Ice Baby. You guys remember that song? Dun 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 dun. Ice, Ice Baby is back on the charts. All right, stop. Collaborate and listen. Vanilla Ice's 1990 hit is suddenly the most popular song in America, and it has nothing to do with his music.
Both supporters and opponents of ICE are using Ice Ice Baby on social media videos about ICE.
Hey man, I'll take anything that drives my songs, whatever makes people laugh and have fun, because that's all they're doing is using it for little parodies.
And coincidentally enough, Ice Ice Baby makes awesome shirts. Check it out down below. And Vanilla Ice is loving it. He's making money off of deportation memes. That is the most 2026 thing I've ever heard.
And I would never try to even comment on how to run a country, so I'm neutral, I don't do anything. I stay in my lane, if that makes sense, I just woke up one day and found out that my song is number 1 36 years later.
This is a fantastic start to 2026. A 1990s rap song about ICE is the soundtrack to mass deportations, and everyone's just rolling with it. America, Democrats spent the weekend completely melting down. Hillary rewrote history about Obama's detention camps while bragging that Democrats deported more people than Trump. AOC delivered foreign policy word salads in Germany that make Kamala Harris look coherent. Obama threw Newsom under the bus for his homeless policies, and the only Democrat making sense is John Fetterman, who's defending Trump's legal compliance and supporting voter ID. Meanwhile, Trump is enforcing existing immigration law without passing a single new bill. DHS is expanding detention capacity. ICE is conducting operations in compliance with the law, and Ice Ice Baby is back on the charts as the unofficial deportation anthem. Democrats are eating their own, their policies are collapsing, and the American people are watching it all happen in real time. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.